What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're coming at you with another top 10, and this is part 3 of the top 10 wackiest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, we could probably just continue the series with just these top 10s, because you know I love those wacky cards, and Yu-Gi-Oh has so much of them. These are the cards that not every deck is going to use, but maybe gimmick decks or side kind of combo-y decks, things you could work around, they might have a use in them, or they may have a use in the future. It's good to run through them. You never know what decks you might be building, or some stuff that I might be cooking that this could be foreshadowing. So we'll get straight into it. Coming in at number 10, we have Explosive Urchin. Now this is kind of a strange burn card. It's almost like a lava golem, but a trap card. Activate only when your opponent activates a trap. During your standby phase, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, and your opponent must control a face-up trap card free to activate and resolve this effect. During your third end phase after the activation, send this card to the graveyard. So it is just kind of a weird little kind of burn card, but it is something that could stay on the field a little bit. You know, if you get a couple of these out, that could be some fat damage. And it's something that's a little less reliant on your opponent in terms of in damage than maybe like a Lava Golem. But, you know, Lava Golem obviously has its uses for getting rid of monsters. But it's something that could be useful. And if they have a trap card that, you know, is going to be out, it's probably going to stay on the field. And this may encourage them to get rid of their stuff as well. Who knows? And there is weird combo plays, and you might find a way to recycle it or something. So I think it's a weird fit for the number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9, we have the Cheerful Coffin. Kind of a basic card, but I think it is kind of strange. Plus, I like the weird little dude on there. But you can discard up to 3 monsters from your hand to the graveyard. Now, this is a pretty nuts card. You know, it's basically a -4. You know, this card plus the 3 that are going to the graveyard. But if you have a bunch of cards in your hand that you're trying to get rid of, maybe there's some kind of combo you want to pull off where you don't want to have cards in your hand, this could be the card to do it. And of course, maybe if you just have something that's you're trying to build up power by having stuff in the graveyard, or it's just cards you don't want in your hand, you know, you want them in the graveyard, it could have some weird uses. And I think that the fact that it's 3 monster cards could be very powerful. It would be, I guess, slightly better if it could be any card, but it could be a way to just empty your hand out, especially if those cards have some effects to do with that. Coming in at number 8, you know, this is the top 10 wacky cards, so I thought it'd be fitting to throw in that Wacky Magic. And, you know, it's not too wacky of a card, even though it has, wacky in the title, but it still is kind of weird, and, you know, it's got some options to it. And it's banish all spell cards from your graveyard. Destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls with defense less than or equal to the number of spells you banished, times 300. So it does have, you know, it's kind of normal, weird effects. Obviously, if you're doing a lot of stuff to get their monsters and defense low or something, you know, if there's weird combos that you could be going off. So you could be hitting them, and if they're in defense, you know, it's some weird plays that you might be able to go through with too. But, you know, equal to the number of spell cards you banish times 300. So it's not too bad. You could maybe get some big combos off. Or if you're trying to empty the spells out of your graveyard, maybe you have some effects that you can only use when you have just monsters or no spell and traps or something. So you maybe hit this and then use something to get rid of it. Maybe just a one-time thing to get rid of one card. Who knows what kind of weird combos you could get into it. Coming in at number 7, we got Hydra Viper. Now, one, it just has some sick art to it, you know. Water monster, reptile level 4. 1800 attack, 400 defense, not too bad. So, you know, there is some potential with his type and attribute. But it's each time this card declares an attack, you must tribute 1 aqua type monster. This card can attack 3 times during each battle phase. So maybe if you got some infected mail, or, you know, a way to to change it up or something, so he's getting in those hits. And then, you know, you might be able to, like, scapegoat and then, you know, like, kind of DNA surgery everything into Aqua type. So that way you could be tributing off some garbage, getting in fat attacks with him. Because if you could get away him to, you know, attack directly, you could go in for some fat damage, plus, you know, equip cards or whatever. I think he has some weird potential. Plus, with just reptile stuff, is always getting some weird support. Same with, you know, water stuff. Plus, he just looks sick. Like, you could get a tattoo with this guy. These guys. It's called Hydra Viper, but there's 3 of them. Oh, I guess they're the same. I don't know if they're all the same guy, if they're all spreading out from the same thing or not. Don't know if it's a 3-headed snake. Could be. Coming in at number 6, we got Archfiend's Staff of Despair. And this is equipped only to a monster card, or a monster you control. During your main phase, you can make all monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to half the equipped monster's attack until the end of this turn. Even if the card leaves the field, if this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can pay 1,000 life points, return this card to your hand. You can only use the effect of Archfiend's Staff Despair once per turn. So you might be able to search it with like some Archfiend cards. I'm not too sure with how that works exactly. But it is just some strange effects. You can keep getting it to your hand and keep using it to lower your opponent's monster's attack, especially if you can bring something fat out. Even if it can attack, you might be able to lower your opponent's monsters down enough that you can slap into them. There's just some, you know, weird combos. Plus it's searchable, you know, with like hidden armory and stuff like that. So, I think it fits a good place on the list at 6. Coming in at 5, we got Matching Outfits. Now, this is just a great little card. You know, it's just the art's amazing. It's a trap card, and it's both players reveal the top card of their deck. And if they are the same type, monster, spell, or trap, both players add them to their hands. Otherwise, banish them. So, if you had maybe something set up where you know what's on the top of your deck, you know what's on the top of their deck, you could combo it off to banish them, or to get them both in hand, or to know when to not use it. There could be some cool plays to it. Could just be a cool way to get a card in your hand, or, you know, say if you're trying to just get stuff banished as well. There's a couple different ways you could take it, but I think it's just a weird little card that fits good on the list. Coming in at number 4. Oh, you might have saw number 3 there. Hopefully you didn't. Coming in at number 4, we got Matt or Matt. I don't know exactly. But as you can see, he's rocking like all like the Millennium items there. He's just chilling. He's a fairy monster, you know, light. Cannot be normal summoned / set. Must be special summoned from your hand by sending 1 light dragon type monster and 1 light fairy type monster you control to the graveyard, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn, you can declare 3 card names and excavate the top 3 cards of your deck. Add any of them to your hand that you named. Also, the remaining cards go to the graveyard. The attack and defense each become equal to the number of cards added to your hand. So you could get a fat beat stick out, and you could maybe get 3 cards out of it if you call it right. This is another one of those things where if you have some cards maybe set up to know what's going to be on the top of your deck, you can get into it. You know, if you got the plays set up, you might be able to pull out Matt, get that big damage, and draw 3 cards off of it. If not, you might be able to use it as some kind of graveyard setup, or if you have them on the top, you could name 3 cards that you know they aren't, and then they go into the graveyard. You know, there's lots of kind of ways to set it up, or Matt could be a strange kind of bonus card. Coming in at number 3, we got Meteor Rush Monocroid. Now, this is another high-level Earth monster. What do we go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think. I think he's 10. Yeah. And machine effect. During the battle phase, if 5 or more attacks have been declared this turn, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use this effect of Meteor Rush Monocroid once per turn. If this card battles, it gains 1,000 attack for each attack declared this turn, during the damage step only. So maybe if you got some, like, yeah, you know, like a bunch of small monsters going in, and if they're attacking directly or something, and maybe you have you know, arrivals or some way to do another fat summon, so you can clear a little bit of field space, or some cards that go off after they attack, some way to, you know, clear some board space after 5 attacks, or monsters that can attack more than once, you know, like the Hydra Viper. You could get him out and maybe do a fat slap of damage. If he gains 1,000 attack for each, so he's going to at least have 5,000 attack, and then, you know, plus whatever more you get in. So it could be a pretty crazy card. Coming in at number 2, we got Hydralander Orbit. Dark level 1 machine, 0 attack, 1,500 defense. And it's if you have 4 or more monsters in your graveyard, and no monsters in your graveyard, sorry, with the same name, you contribute this card, excavate the top cards of your deck equal to the number of monsters in your graveyard, or as many as possible. And if you do, if 2 or more monsters were excavated and all excavated monsters had different names, add one of those monsters to your hand, place the remaining cards on the top of your deck in any order, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one monster in your graveyard, place it on the bottom of your deck. So he's a wild kind of spam of some effects you can do if you got, you know, those different monsters with different names. So it kind of works if you're running a lot of different singular monsters in a deck. You might be able to pull this guy in there and get some weird combos off with him. Plus, he's got that graveyard effect to get something back in your deck, you know. And most cards are going to be pulling from the deck and probably getting that shuffle off, so bottom of the deck isn't that huge of a deal. Especially, you know, if you're cycling through, or if you're just trying to empty out your graveyard. Maybe if you have 2 of these, you know, you're just trying to clear out, or 3. Coming in at the number 1 spot, a pretty personal favorite card of mine because he's just such a weird card. Less of the effect, more of the guy. We got Chop Man, the Desperate Outlaw. He's a dark level 3 zombie, 1,100 attack, 500 defense. His effect, when this card is flip summoned successfully, you can equip 1 equip spell in your graveyard to this card. So yeah, he does have that kind of weird effect. You know, you could be pulling some stuff off. He's a good way to recycle an equipped card. And you could pull some stuff off. It isn't a flip effect, so that's kind of hurting, but it's when this card is flip summoned successfully. So you gotta kind of make sure it's good on your turn, or you're flip summoning him with something legit. But if you check out him, if you check out right here, he's got a head tattoo that says "I heart chop." So, you know, that just, he takes the number 1. Look at him chopping, you know what I mean? He's Chop Man, the Desperate Outlaw. Who knows why he's desperate, or why he's an outlaw, or why he's Chop Man? Why has he chosen the way of the chop? We'll never know. It'd be cool to make, I think, a deck around this guy just because he's ridiculous. There's got to be some funny strats you could pull with Chop Man. Just keep setting them and taking equip cards off of them or something. I don't know. There's got to be something he can do. Something funny with Chop Man, the Desperate Outlaw. Let me know in the comments if you know of any other wacky cards that you maybe want to see in future wacky list updates. I'll keep this one kind of as a funny kind of side series with our top 10s. We probably won't have too many others that are this consistent. This will just be showing off those fun, wacky, kind of gimmicky cards. And like I said, you know, you can check out our other top 10s. We do legit ones as well as deck profiles, kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! DIYs. You know, how to make magnetic Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, how to make Shatterfoil Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, stuff like that. As well as, you know, tons of other content. So, like I said, make sure, you know, you subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, hit that little notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. And other than that, thanks for watching. Peace.